So straight away, let's see how those bans roll out. Vulcun with the first ban of the day. What are they going to go with? Will it be Vayne straight away, or will they target? Yep, there it is.
Of course.
No missing. Kha'Zix's also being taken away from Psycho Sid. Is that going to be mandatory Cloud in the mid lane?
I want to say it's mandatory Cloud. So Man Cloud, the first half of the season we've seen so far was playing poke, Nidalee and Lux, Nidalee and Lux. In the last couple of play days, he's been bringing out the assassins. Diana, Kha'Zix, I mean, Zed could be in there as well. And he just sort of has changed his play around. You might have seen his amazing Diana game against Complexity actually at MLG. While they lost that game, he was at like 12-4 at some point. Mandatory Cloud has been on fire this last half of the season so far, and he's been playing more assassins, and it's really opened the doors for them. And as Reginald said about TSM, CLG is kind of weak to assassins because they only really rely on that AD carry, so we'll see what happens.
Well, Singed has been taken away as well as Renekton. So first pick, Elise is available. Will they go with that one? Is Kale's available? But Nidalee is available, just as you talk about it. Mandatory Cloud, the poke strat, could they be going back to it?
So right off the bat, CLG needs to be able to pick really strong initiation. Whether it's split push Nidalee and like a 4-on-1 the entire time, you need to initiate on those 4. Whether it's a poke comp, you need to initiate on those 5. So either way, champions like Malphite, they really want to be here to be able to hold up to that. So you know, it's a popular champion for Hotshot GG. It's not been banned out. You know, Jarvan also is available here. Those are two champions I would expect to see CLG pull out.
Well, I got to point out that CLG currently 0-2 this week, so this is an important match for those guys. They really need to pick up a win. They've just lost to TSM, and really, it wasn't even close between Dignitas and TSM. So this match, it means everything to these guys right now.
It does. And talking to Vulcun when they came into the studio this afternoon, basically talking about, you know, the play so far, and they're like, you know, what's going to be the biggest thing for you going into this game? And they said it would be TSM beating CLG. That CLG is a team that would tilt, that they would get down on themselves and start arguing. I actually overheard Hotshot talking about his Karthus top pick actually while I was setting up at the telestrator. He was like, no, I got you guys dragging, like I pulled a lot of aggro, you guys got a lot of pressure on the map, that pick was fine, we're doing well. And so they were like already kind of doubting themselves a little bit. We'll see if that ends up mattering here.
Well, you can see Jarvan has been locked in, so Chowser's going to be running that, as well as Afromu on Sona. Let's see what Vulcun do. Are they going to go all in for the poke comp, or are they going to have something to back it up, some bit of meat on its bones?
Well, speaking of meat, they are looking at the dog right here. They've got Nasus. They're looking at it, and he's been such a popular jungler as well. It makes a whole lot of sense. He's got, I mean, just Wither is amazing. And again, they're fighting against a team with double lift, right? They're fighting at CLG, who rely on him so much. And Wither, it's basically exhaust on a 15-second cooldown. So it even goes lower than that as you rank it up and all that. So Nasus, I think, makes a whole lot of choices, especially against CLG.
Taking a long time over this one. They got 1 second to pick it in. It is Thresh, so it's gonna be Muffin Cutie pulling out the Thresh again. Another long-range whiplash, and that's
get
the hooks.
Oh, it's really, really good. Thresh, it's great because he's sort of doubly effective on the defense. So of course you can hook in, you can do a lot of damage, you put down the box, and then when they run away, they run through one wall of the box, get slowed, and you can chase them down. On the retreat, though, they have to run through 2 walls of the box to get to you. You'll get slowed down on the front half, and you'll hit the back half. And so if you're playing this long-range poke, again, Wither as well, you've got a lot of tools for that, it's very hard for them to run at you and start a fight. CLG, I mean, they're looking to battle here, right? They've got Sona, Jarvan, they've got Katarina. They're looking to get into that fight and deal damage all at once, which makes sense when you're facing probably a long-range team.
Yeah, and they just don't want to get them near them, do they? If Zuna does go with Tristana, they've got the explosive shot, just launch him away. They've also got, looks like it's going to be Rumble. Rumble has been locked in already. Yeah, so, I mean, it's not exactly a full poke comp, but to be fair, the Equalizer is a pretty long-range spell.
It is a weird mix. Like, we actually saw this, I believe, actually in their win against Dignitas, where they got the, like, long-range, like, 720 no-scope Nidalee javelins into the Equalizer to actually pick up kills once in a while. They are actually looking at the Karthus top, potentially. Again, I still feel like Malphite would work better in this lineup to start fights, but again, CLG, much better players than I am. We'll see if they do end up locking in Karthus here. Yeah, so Vulcan's lineup really, it's a weird mix of poke and team fight. And I think that's reasonably strong. I think that makes a lot of sense. You go off the back of Nidalee javelins, then when they do come in on you, you've got Nasus ult, you've got Threshbox, you do have Rumble.
That makes sense.
So you've got this kind of mix here, but as we saw from Complexity versus Marn, just one poker wasn't enough to bring people down, really.
Well, they're really unsure about this one. The switch between Malphite would make perfect sense to me in this lineup, but He's gone back to Karthus, and it seems they are arguing the point here. And it's possibly going to be double teleport as well for CLG. Let's see whether they stick with it. But that is going to get locked in. So it's going to be Hotshot GG in that top lane again on Karthus. Did get dived out, of course. Not really the same dive strategy that Team Solar mid used this time around. So he is going to be much safer. And he could potentially go into 2v1. But we see this mid lane. Are they going to stick together? Will it be Nidalee versus Katarina?
I want to expect yes. So, you know, I mean, it'll really kind of depend. I don't see why they would change these around too much. None of these lanes are really crazy easy to shut down than a 2v1. Katarina works pretty well without farm. Karthus won't get shut out unless he gets ganked heavily. Rumble's going to work well without farm as well. And Mandatory Cloud's, you know, in a short lane, pre-6 Nidalee is fine. And she'll actually be able to last hit reasonably well as well, because you can't zone her out in mid. And so I don't see why Vulcun would start it, and I don't think CLG will get much if they start it themselves.
Well, I gotta say, being over in North America has given me one benefit. We get some funky music during the picks and bans. We don't get it in Europe. You know, I just feel I want to get down with that music, but nevertheless,
yeah.
That point aside, we have had the lock in there from the champions. What are we seeing between these two comps? Obviously, we've talked about the fact that there is the poke. We have the Nidalee, but it's not always necessarily a poke comp just because Nidalee is in there.
No, it actually allows her to play a late game role with Zuna as well. You've actually got a lot of late game power. Nasus scales throughout the game, and I'm not just talking about Siphoning Strike. His ultimate dealing percentage max health damage will keep scaling, and you have a Tristana with both Rapid Fire and Primal Surge from Nidalee, and he's going to be putting out a lot of damage, Zuna. Now for CLG, though, remember, they've got Katarina and Karthus here, so they've got a crazy strong team fight. The actual 5-on-5, if they're grouped up as a little ball, CLG's got explosive damage.
Explosive damage, here we go. We are underway. Let's see if that damage does pay off for Counter Logic Gaming on your screens. They are going to be playing as the red team, and Vulcun chasing, trying to take CLG to 0-3 for the week, which would be devastating for any CLG fan out there. But Vulcun, can they manage to do it just like they did against Dignitas? Similar type of strategy. Will it work out? And CLG are going to be ready for it. They would have seen that match.
Yeah, well, what's going to happen right here, though, is Vulcun are going to beeline for that blue buff to put a ward down. We saw TSM do the same thing, where they know that they're going to give Hotshot blue buff at level 1 and go to the side lane with blue buff, so they know that actually Hotshot's going to be bottom, or at least start there and teleport somewhere else afterwards. Honestly, they could like have Karthus grab blue and then teleport top and run a standard lane, but they know getting the ward down on Golem will be really powerful. They can stop him as Reginald did in the TSM CLG match, and that's going to be their first big play. And CLG's actually going to play around that a little bit. You're seeing them play a little bit up. No, they finally got the ward down, but they had moved forward a little bit to try to watch for that. Now we'll see what happens after.
Well, they used the pink ward as well, and that's a lot of wards already used up by Muffin Cutie just to get that singular ward in the blue buff, blue bush, sorry. And he actually bought a whole stack of wards at that start. So pink ward's been used up already. Used the Explorer ward earlier on. As you can see, it's going to give them that vision. And we talked about, you know, how many wards CLG placed down against Team Solar mid. When you're starting to invest that much vision, that much coverage, then you kind of have to back it up.
Yeah, you really do. You have to make something happen out of it. Now, CLG, we've talked about it a whole lot, but in their very first game of the season, they grabbed 7 wards, and they, with Syndra, stole away the blue buff, and it was a really great level 1 play, and it was worth it. For Vulcun, they've got to make sure that they're able to stop Karthus here. And the thing is, Hotshot's not even going to try, right? He knows they went for the ward there. They kind of saw them run around, and so Hotshot doesn't even bother making the effort. They know there's a 2-on-1 at the bottom lane, so he won't even get much out of it.
Do see Muffin Cutie using that smite, taking that blue buff, so he's not going to be resisting, not going to be holding on, and he will go around towards that red. Double lift now in this mid lane, so it's looking like we're going to have double lift, and joining him after him, of course, looking like he's going for a bit of a walk with Chowster in towards the blue, but the blue is already down.
They expected him to start at the red buff, and you know, they had no ward coverage at all. They spent so much time defending, they didn't actually look into Vulcan's jungle, so they guessed, but they guessed wrong. And that's actually smart by Vulcun. They knew it was a 2-on-1 top. They knew blue buff would get stolen after that, after Chowster grabbed red. So a great read there on Vulcan's side.
A very good read. Muffin Cutie and Zuna down this bottom lane are going to be pressuring on the Hotshot, but as we did mention earlier on, despite the fact Hotshot can get dived early, he can easily farm from range.
Yeah, and he's going to do what he can to last hit on turret. He's actually missed a couple there, but you will see him try to go for it. Muffin Cutie's actually trying to walk on top of caster minions sometimes to block that double damage Karthus Q once in a while, if it'll make a difference for last hits. We'll see if that ends up mattering too much here. right now you're seeing both of these sort of 1v2 laners getting a little bit starved.
Yeah, and he has to be very careful of that hook coming out from Muffin Cutie. He hasn't quite landed it yet, but Mandatory Cloud, he's taking a lot of pressure in this mid lane from Double Lift and Afro, keeping the pressure on them. Let's take a look at the top lane, of course. Link versus Psycho's Sid. It's a matchup we weren't quite expecting here, but it's certainly a matchup that he's going to be used to because we have seen quite a few top lane Katarinas before.
And Link actually played top lane for them at MLG in the first place, so he's got a little bit of knowledge of what's happening there. You're seeing Mancloud take a heck of a lot of poke. This is a lane that can hit him from distance and not really take turret aggro back. And so what you're seeing from Xmithie is what we actually saw, I believe it was TSM do in their first game of the weekend, is constantly pull Nats to the mid lane to keep the turret from dying. Needly does not have wave clear pre-6. That turret is constantly under pressure, so letting the Spirit Fire to keep the turret from going down is actually pretty big here.
Chasta's just off the side, maybe thinking of going for that early dive that we do normally see in the top and bottom lanes. This time it's all about the mid. You'll see the glimpse of the Spirit Fire off the side there, so we know Xmithie is still in around the area. There comes the Demacia standard, but they don't manage to land anything, and they just hold on the lane a little bit longer, and that's really going to counter to the pressure they're putting in this bottom lane. Vulcun have to take this turret quick.
And you can just see how much damage they're able to do here. Right there, you saw Muffin Cutie tank the Q shot to make sure they couldn't get the minion kill. That turret going down at 4.5 minutes with no pressure at all. However, CLG 3 strong mid are looking for the answer here.
They're going to try and get this turret down, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to do it. Meanwhile, you can see Link's getting pressure from Psycho Sid, keeping that flame spitter going towards him. And now we see it's going to be a shift around. Muffin Cutie heading up towards that mid lane. He's going to help Mandatory Cloud hold that lane.
That's a really, really smart choice, of course. They've gotten their free turret kill. Zuna at this point can easily 1v1 hot shot down there and not have any cares. There's no kill potential from a Karthus, right? He can't go in, there's no exhaust, he doesn't have the damage of the AP. So Zuna is 100% safe, even with the Jarvan jungle. And yeah, having the pressure now in the mid lane to keep that turret from being traded will become a permanent advantage here for Vulcun.
Oh, and it is something we see. Is Afro going to get caught out there? The spear came in, the lash is coming out from Muffin Cutie, but they did manage to keep the damage flowing. They just forced them back, but the danger already signs there for CLG.
Yes, and of course what was so powerful there as well is that they have Wither into the death sentence, which is pretty much going to be impossible to dodge when you Wither a Sona at that point. So they're finding a lot of pressure there. Psycho Sid, though, he's actually... I guess he's not quite winning the lane. He's 26 to 33, but he's doing pretty well overall.
He's doing a very good job. Both AD carries completely even, 44 to 44, despite being in different lanes, mid and bottom. And those harpoons keep getting launched out towards Link, but he's holding on. So what are we looking at? We're going to see, we're up to 6 minutes. Obviously, we've seen one turret go down. Lanes are starting to switch position here. Looks like we're going to have Mandatory Cloud going bottom towards Hotshot GG. So these two duo lanes, is this the right move? Obviously, it's simply Vulcun protecting their turret, but would CLG thinking, okay, we need to change things up here?
They won't really have enough time actually in the mid lane. Oh my gosh,
oh, that's going to be first blood, and it's going to be killed straight away. Afro move, the jump comes out, Zuna goes too deep, and Double Lift picks up the easiest shot he can, and it's actually a double kill for Hotshot GG. That Requiem working perfect.
That was an absolute monster of a fight right there. CLG got a pretty good deal out of it. Psycho Sid did pick up the kill onto Link, though. They had to really aggress hard to pick that one up. Smith is going to be safe against that teleport.
Yeah, just uses the lantern, gets away. Hotshot GG teleports in towards the mid lane. And just as I was talking about the changes, looks like we're going to have it. Hotshot GG moves to the mid.
Yeah, he's going to be able to just farm up there pretty safely. Of course, you don't want to put Karthus into a long lane with a turret dead. Now that you're at this point in the game, it's very easy for Xmithie to roam around. Even Mancloud as well, as a level 6 Needly, has a lot of kill potential as well. And they could just dive Hotshot over and over. They cannot send him to the bottom lane anymore. Anyone that he fights heads up will actually beat him there. So they need him just to get the farm going and use the more mobile champions of Ezreal and Katarina in the more unprotected lanes.
So let's see if Hotshot GG can fend him off. Now he's up to 6. You'd think he can hold them wave clears a little bit more. Mandatory Cloud, he's going to get forced back. He's got Chowster actually collapsing around him in that bottom lane. Possibly going to come down around the tri-bush. Will he go straight down river? No. Mancloud will see him now. And Nidalee, of course, a very hard champion to pin down.
Yeah, I think Chowster, he should have kept going through the river as he was when he went to ward there, because once you're up that far, you tend to ward tri-brush more than river. Hotshot, wow, still, again, taking damage. This is a difficult place for him, but because he has a turret to run to, it's not as easy to dive him. It'll be a risky proposition if they go for it.
Yeah, Xmithie around the side there, and Chowster had to come in defensive formation. Of course, that's the danger of having a Thresh on your lane. If that hook lands and your AD carry is ready to back it up, that can be a heck of a lot of damage going down towards you. Now Xmithie, though, coming around in the offensive capacity. And he is going to pass by a ward, and they are well aware of his position, but the damage continues out there. They're planning to put a beat down on this mid turret now.
Hey, they're definitely trying to. They've got a 2-on-1. They've got the ability to pressure Hotshot and deal a bunch of damage. They're going to keep looking for that.
Well, we just saw the spears onto Doublelift. No matter how many times you see Nidalee spears, you always get the oohs and ahs. Because the damage potential that could come out from them. Smithy, look at that. If that had landed, it could have well nearly finished him.
Yeah, he's going to do a lot of damage there. Most mid Nidalees will max Q first compared to the Bruiser Nidalees who will max E. Just to check, to sanity check, yes, of course, it is rank 4 into Q from ManCloud. That is a big javelin. And yeah, he's only going to get more ability power from here, so Doublelift's life will get more and more difficult over time. The only thing really saving them, of course, is the sustain from Sona.
Yeah, true shot field goal from Doublelift there as it passes through the mid lane. They all walk past, back up through it, and it is going to be counter logic game and falling behind on the gold here. They are, of course, only a tower behind, but I mean, in terms of farm, they're technically above because they have that tower down. They haven't managed to get one themselves, so they have that gold in hand, effectively banked. Once they get one of those turrets down, the mid turret was very low. They are going to surpass Vulcun in gold.
And certainly it's going to be an interesting situation if that does happen, because you kind of saw the early game go so well for Vulcun, and now CLG are really holding themselves to a pretty good standard. Now I want to really point out Hotshot GG's farm, because he's got 55 minions, of course had that double kill, and he is the biggest late game terror here for CLG. Like, we normally talk about Hotshot being, oh, he plays tanks, he's initiator, he gives farm to his teammates, he's a distraction. In this game, it's actually on Hotshot to be a carry, which is kind of a rare role for him.
Well, we see Psycho, Sid, and Hotshot GG there. Psycho not really being against him. He's been up against Link the whole time, and Link, of course, is also a terror. He can snowball so quickly on Katarina, and it could be an issue if they were to allow it. As it is down the bottom lane, they are getting some free farm going on here. Doublelift and Aframu, they've got to be careful. They don't let that Ezreal Sona combo get onto a turret, because they can take it down very, very quickly. Smithy stood on top towards that pink ward, and we are going to see Doublelift going back. Vampiric Scepter almost completed already. Early rush there, and he does finally pick up his first boots, whereas Zuna, he went for the Berserker Greaves very early on, and that pickaxe.
So we'll see how these builds end up developing, of course. We've seen Doublelift go for the Bloodthirster over and over and over again. Zuna certainly looking like he wants an Infinity Edge, which is standard fare for Tristana. Tristana is one of those auto-attack based AD carries, more so than Graves, Ezreal, etc., who will use abilities a lot more. And so Infinity Edge is pretty standard right there. And I'm curious to see how this sort of pans out, because you're going to see more damage come out from Zuna. You're going to see gigantic javelins come out from ManCloud. And really right now, CLG are about to spike in power really hard. They've learned all their ultimates. Hotshots is back up, and they've got a Katarina now at level 9. That's probably the biggest power spike for Katarina. She'll slightly go down a little bit compared to someone like Karthus, who's going to keep going up more. And so this is kind of the time where like CLG could look for Dragon and just sort of fight around the fact that they have a level 9 cat.
And remember, Link is up the top there with Psycho Sid, but they have teleport. He can come down and join that party at any moment. He is going to back off. Let's see whether he goes. It's sort of Mandatory Cloud taking a little bit of damage from Doublelift and really winning out that exchange, to be honest, Doublelift is. So ManCloud struggling on that one, and it does look like a Dragon attempt coming out.
There we go. They went back for a couple more items to make sure they had what they needed for the fight. The Lantern goes down. They know that CLG is starting this, but I don't think they have the numbers at all.
They don't have the numbers. They do put that ward in that corner. They also throw the hook out, trying to get the last-minute steal, but it's not to be, and Chauster smites that one down, no problem.
All right, so there is CLG using their numbers advantage. Of course, if a fight did start, just a teleport away Link was. You can see now that Vulcun, you know, oh, this could be rough for Zuna.
Well, they're going to engage on him. He does have the Lantern down, and Zuna is pulled away from that one. Remember, CLG, they only need a couple of hits on this mid turret. It was already taken very low early on. You can see it's below half health already. Could try and commit to it, but instead Vulcun quickly react. They get back in there, and that buys a little bit of free time for Mandatory Cloud in that bottom. He's going to go back, had that chalice of harmony early on. Let's see what he picks up. He's going to be back. It's an Athene's and Holy Grail.
Alrighty, that's always going to be nice for him. You just want that javelin spam when you're Nidalee, the 20% cooldown reduction, the extra mana regeneration, even some AP. It is really the perfect first item for that Nidalee, the AP mid champion there. So that's actually a standard one. You're grinning at me, D-Man, but like that's not even mine. I mean, I guess it's still good, so, you know, thank you, Internet. But again, you know, we look at these matchups, and they're just so equal sort of across the board. And other than that first kill, like, no one's doing anything all that different. I mean, CLG did a good move, capitalizing on the power spike and the teleports. They took a dragon away, but no one's going for crazy dives. I thought we'd have more against this Karthus, but Chowster's been spending a lot of time. Smithy, can he dodge these?
He's got to dodge, keep dodging as well. I think he was kind of baited because the lantern was there and he was just sticking around. He's like, no, I'm fine. And then suddenly, Muffin Cutie left him alone. So he had to run away from that one. Zuna going back up towards the top. So the AD carry is switching round. They're going to try and keep pressure on towards the top turret this time, which means you can see Link coming down. He's going to start off the blue buff for Hotshot.
And that's, of course, going to be just great for Hotshot overall. Again, you get Karthus in the mid lane, makes it easy to grab blues. Just there's a whole lot of reason to put him there. Again, he gets to farm in the short lane, and that's just really standard course. But he's going for a max magic penetration build, which is not something we see a heck of a lot. It's more of like a top lane or assassin sort of buy, where you tend to see Katarina players pick that stuff up, and most Karthuses go for like the fast death cap, maybe a Rod of Ages, and they stack AP. So it'll be interesting to see how that build pans out to a more AP-focused build. I think it'll still work well, of course. But again, kind of going back to what these teams are doing, you know, Vulcun have not really been trying to force down Hotshot despite being a generally unsafe champion to lane with. You can fight from range, but you can always flank him. And Chowster's been spending a lot of time waiting around in the mid lane. Generally speaking, he's been nearby, always available to counter gank. And because Vulcun hadn't vision ward anything, they were never really... They never felt safe enough to just go in on something like that.
Every time that hook lands, Zuna manages to put a couple of shots on towards Aphromu. We did hear the pings of spears landing down the bottom as well, so Link was forced back. He's come back to lane. Of course, as it is, Bloodthirster versus potentially an Infinity Edge going to be built by Zuna. Chowster in that bush there, trying to see if they can bait them out towards it. Muffin Cutie has got that lamp, of course. He could just throw it straight in towards there and keep vision on it, but yeah, he's going to do just that and say, yeah, I see you. I see you. Get the hell away from us, guy. You're not going to fool us.
It's a really smart choice. It's one of the best. Well, I shouldn't say one of the best because there's so many good things about him. But look at the burst on the Hotshot. Ignited. I think he'll live, though. Last tick, he is fine. That was a little bit close. Nice attempt there by Sid. That's one of the nice things about Thresh, though, is you can check brushes and look for ganks like that.
Yeah, the equalizer not quite on tilt there. Didn't quite land in the right place. Lash comes out there from Muffin Cutie, just whiplashing on towards Doublelift, keeping him in check. As it stands, though, the mid lane is being pressured because Hotshot's had to go back there. Smithy with the Wither, and there is Mandatory Cloud and Psycho Sid picking up that mid turret. It's 2-0 in turrets for Vulcun.
Yeah, that was overall a really good move by Sid. Again, he saw the gank top lane. He knew there was no one there to counter gank him. Burned Hotshot's flash to make him leave equalizer range, and then just simply pulled up the teammate. Said, guys, we have a 2v0 at the turret. Let's take this down. It's a free one.
It's going to be the bottom turret, top turret that Chowster is coming around. They're already pinging it. They have got Smithy coming up, though. He's going to come around there. Oh. And Chowster's already put his Demacia standard down. It might mean he's going to have to burn the flash, and he does. Oh,
man, he used that just to reveal and see if Muffin Cutie was coming. And, of course, he was. His mid-turret, though, a great trade by CLG. They saw that Vulcun ran top, and they got that one.
And there's going to be an engage on the top lane. They're going to go in. The box goes down, but the crescendo follows. Muffin Cutie has to flash out. They've got a Cataclysm on towards the turret. The turret gets taken down. Great play from Doublelift there, getting in there, and that's going to be a pickup, a double kill for Link as he teleports into top, and that was a whitewash as everybody teleports in. Hotshot GG with the Requiem takes down Zuna, and that was a complete destruction from CLG. All 5 members diving on that top lane.
Absolutely great fight from them. They had a 5-on-4 basically. They knew exactly where everybody was. ManCloud's actually looking for the Son of Chowster. He's got good damage. Oh my God!
The spear, the ignite. Oh, no. One more tick would have done it. And you feel one more paw, that pounce, whatever would have gone onto Chowster. He may well have finished it off, but he gets away with it. It does buy ManCloud time to push in towards this mid lane, though.
That's going to be one of the strengths of Nidalee, even in the AP version, who's not as, like, resilient on these like one-on-one like trades. Still has good damage, but if you go for her, she's, you know, a little bit squishy. But he does have that split push power still, of course. But CLG, that fight was just so strong from them. They knew they had the 5-on-4. The teleport Katarina is just so good. And it's one of, I think, my favorite champion to watch in competitive because she just explodes fights out of nowhere. Teams will just engage battles knowing that they have this cleanup crew available. This red hair just kills I didn't have a good term for that. She has red hair and kills everything. It's Katarina.
And it's not the Vulcun manager.
No. Nice.
Yeah, it could have been. As it stands, you can see Dragon is about to spawn, and they're ready for this one. Oh, spear lands on towards Aphromu, but you see it wasn't a full-range spear. It didn't do a great deal. Oh, the hook on towards Doublelift actually pulls him out of the spear there. not quite working in tandem there.
Oh, that one hits, though. Good damage there. But yeah, they didn't actually have the ultimate ready for Psycho Sid. He actually came down a little bit late. So the thing is, Vulcun had it timed, but they weren't all in position in time, basically, to make that fight happen, even though they had full knowledge of when that went down. So a slight misplay by them. Of course, a great pickup by CLG. And because they feel so strong in this mid game, because you know, when you make moves against a poke team, they can't easily get in on you, right? There's no good initiation from Vulcun really whatsoever. If CLG keeps dictating the pace here and taking dragons like this, there's not a lot that Vulcun can do about this.
One of those huge advantages being built by Doublelift here. The Wither gets thrown down on him from Smithy. They're going to try and go aggressive, but they don't really have the positioning for it. And Doublelift keeps him at bay very well with that Mystic shot. He's got 188 CS to 147. That Bloodthirst, the Phage in there now. He's going to get that Trinity Force out in a moment. And finally, the Infinity Edge does get completed by Zuna.
All right, that's going to be the first big power spike here for Vulcun. This is actually, I think, the first time that they can actually feel confident is that, generally speaking, Zuna will actually out-damage now his opponent, and he's maxed Rapid Fire first. It's already got 5 points into it, 3 on Explosive Shot, 1 on Rocket Jump, and so he is actually a gigantic damage threat. There's 5 in Primal Surge already from Mandatory Cloud. Of course, he's level 13. So this is like the biggest power spike you will see from Tristana. If they go for a battle and Zuna gets to auto-attack because Sid and Smithy are able to frontline and Mephicuti as well, he will just evaporate CLG's lineup. If Vulcun can find a fight somewhere, pushing top turret, something like that, it's their best chance to really turn this around.
He's just getting some free farm in that top lane at the moment. They're going to keep pressuring on towards that top lane, but he is a long way off on his own. He has got the Berserker Greaves, the Rocket Jump. He can escape quite a lot of damage, and the crowd control, CLG could try and throw at him, but it does look like he's going to go down bottom. ManCloud's been stuck down this bottom lane for a heck of a long time against Doublelift, and Doublelift is slowly but surely winning the battle.
Yeah, ManCloud's got to kind of rely on his base mana regen, but you know, even when those javelins land, oh, they're going to go with Smithy. They might be able to pick this up, actually.
They may go aggressive here. Hasn't got a tower for long range, but look at the aggression from Doublelift. The spear lands, the Requiem comes out. It won't be enough to take down ManCloud, but it's definitely enough to force him at bay and make him think twice. And now Link is coming around. He's going to go in towards the Tribus. The spear lands straight on him, though. That will definitely make him think twice about engaging.
There were a lot of smart moves at the end there. You saw Mandatory Cloud try to juke into the brush to dodge the Ezreal he knew was coming. Chouster knew that there was gank at the bottom, knew there's no jungler, could steal a blue easily, and Zuna might... Ooh, good
he's had to explosive, force him away. Of course, Zuna did have the Requiem we used on him a moment ago. He kind of forces fights all across the map when them sort of things happen, and now ManCloud gets aggressed on. Can he just save himself? Yes, he does. Gets the heal down.
And wow, Katarina is going like assassin style. She's actually rushed a Deathfire Grasp to try to bring down single targets right away. So they are just trying to initiate, get that one kill, force the resets, and clean up from there. It's an interesting build. I've not seen that before from a Katarina, but it's working really, really well.
One thing I have seen is the DFG Lichbane combo. It is explosive.
Yes. I mean, you just get to one-shot someone, basically. You saw Mandatory Cloud forced to flash away. And the thing is, he's still, like, he has some magic resist. He's got the Athene's Unholy Grail. He's overall got 82 magic resist. Ooh. He still brought him down.
They go Baron here. Here comes Chouster. Hotshot GG teleports in on the Demacia standard. And they are all in for this one. And Vulcun are miles away. They're not even going to get close.
No, they have no idea this is even happening. Zuna's running by from the side, and they just will not find anything for this at all. Zuna walks in right after they pick up Baron buff. He's got to run. He's
going to have to run. Rocket jumps just across the field there and into the trees and is away. But that does mean the Baron sneakily picked up by CLG. They have a 5,000 gold advantage. They're equal on turrets, but I feel that is definitely going to snowball very quickly.
And that was actually a really, really good play by CLG. That really feels like them back in Season 1 and Season 2. They were so good at doing that, unless you had Hotshot fail his Shyvana over the wall. Otherwise, you had just you know, a great way of winning games. CLG would do that, actually, I wouldn't say frequently, but often enough that you could call it something that CLG did. And it worked so well many of those times. And, you know, again, they're sort of going back to the roots, and they're not really being pressured that much by Vulcun, so they're kind of allowed to play their game, and it's working really well.
Well, counter logic gaming, let's see what they do. Now they have this buff. They're just going to shove straight down mid. Are they going to keep the waves cleared? Looks like it is. I mean, we're seeing Link going down the bottom, and they want to get that turret down the bottom. It's going to be the final outer turret, should they make it. And it has been taken down pretty low. We are seeing Psycho Sid moving into position, but it's the 4 members of CLG going up the mid lane that's going to cause problems for Vulcun.
It is really, because now you've got a Baron up team. You've got actually a team with decent poke, to be honest. Oof. they should have the sustain for Double to survive that. They can fight Needly and really not worry that much. Hits a minion there, but they've got a lot of long-range tools. They're going to go in.
Oh, the Flash Crescendo comes out, but immediately Flashing responded to that, and the hook comes back out there, but they still got minions to tank up this turret. They could get a couple more hits in it. The spears do land on towards Aphromoo, almost full length there, but still didn't do a great deal to Aphromoo because he's built fairly strong. That the Ruby Crystal he picked up earlier on definitely helping out. He's going to go towards that Ruby Sightseer Stone, and Link, meanwhile, not even in close to this one. He's continuing to take the bottom turret, so CLG backing off in this one, but it's a safe back.
Yeah, and Link has itemized himself for basically 1v1 fights, right? He's got a lot of Magic Bend, he's got the Deathfire Grasp. No one can really heads-up fight him one-on-one. Mad Cloud can't, Psycho Sid can't. Zuno is just going to be afraid of him the entire way through, so Link gets to split push here.
The engage possibly from Chowster, just getting a poke on towards Zuna, didn't Cataclysm into it though. And now Link is coming back in there, does have teleport if he's required to come in there. And, well, it's the CLG split push, but it's a different style. We are seeing Link being the split pusher, and now that top wave, that's going to push itself. The bottom wave, of course, is going to shove in. They're going to take this inner turret in the mid lane and keeping the pressure on towards Vulcun.
That pressure is just kind of mounting more and more as it's looking very, very good for them. For CLG, I should say, Vulcun are trying to hold on. Again, they still have that awesome Tristana combo to rely back on if they can pull it late, but they've still got Baron buff for about 45 seconds. And of course, that 6,000 gold lead, CLG could still look for another turret.
Oh, and look, and Link is just hanging around the side there. He's potentially thinking of coming in for this one. I'm not sure Vulcun want to stand around and try and fight for this turret. They don't have anything really backing them up, and Hotshot is looking to try and flash engage here. You can see he's in defile position, ready to see if he needs to go in there. The hook came down. There's the equalizer coming out. Double Lift was taken low, but it's not low enough. And that Baron buff, along with the Bloodthirster, will just regain all his health back.
That was a strange fight. Like, they got the pull and a double lift, and they knew that he had flash and arcane shifts. They didn't pile in, but then afterwards, he just kind of threw out an equalizer when the team wasn't ready to actually engage. It just felt sort of miscommunicated, though. I don't think they could have all in double lift and succeeded. He had cleanse, and again, those aforementioned escape spells. So, but now it's done without an AoE ult.
The hook, the crescendo comes down. This time they are going to go deep. The Cataclysm catches them all in the box, but now it actually means Link's a prisoner on his own tower, and Zuna picks up the kill. Hotshot GG taken very low. He's going to get dropped by the spear, and they're all going to back out. The Requiem comes out. Is it going to be enough damage? No, it's not, and it's going to be Vulcun that goes 2 for 0 in that fight, but they do lose a turret from it.
Oh, the turret's about equal to 2 kills, so the gold kind of goes equal, but CLG now, yeah, they will be forced to back away. They know they can't really keep pushing 5-on-3. Of course, Baron's still 3 minutes away. There's no comeback Baron, but of course they can steal away this blue buff. The CLG, honestly, that fight, I mean, you saw the glimmers of hope there. Of course, Vulcun can still win battles, but CLG, that went equal.
Yeah, and I think the Baron had just worn off before the fight happened. So in the kind of crescendo, everybody went in, but there was a lot of flashes available so they could all get out of that Cataclysm. And ironically, it was kind of Link that was just left the prisoner in the own Cataclysm. It happens. It happens. It happens to the best players in the world. And right now we're seeing them in action. Vulcun looking to potentially try and see if they can steal anything around that mid lane. They are going to pressure on towards the top. The top turret did take a lot of damage earlier on from Zuna, so Mandatory Cloud's going to try and get up there and finish it off along with Psycho Sid. You can see Smithy and Mo from Cutie looking to try and set up some sort of gank. Just above them, they will hear, surely, Link taking down them golems.
I don't know if you hear sound over Fog of War, so I'm not sure they would know about that just yet, but I like the anatomy of that red buff steal. Of course, a great dragon pickup by CLG, but you had Muffin Cutie running around with an Oracles to make sure they weren't spotted, and then he actually warded the brush they went into for Lizard and the brush across the way to make sure they weren't getting ganked at all, and so they had a completely safe exit, even if CLG did look to stop them.
But CLG, they lost the red, but they took the dragon, which gives them that gold stretch again. 7,000 now is the lead. 5-3 in turrets. Vulcun need to start trying to pull this one together because it's going to slowly slip away from them if they're not careful. Next Baron fight is going to happen in 1 minute 15 seconds. Really, that's where the pressure is going to come from. CLG almost certainly going to be ready and waiting for that one. You can see they're already positioning to start sweeping out those wards, yes. And Vulcun need to be ready for it.
Well, I'm checking CLG right now, and they don't yet have an Oracles. Now, I'm looking at the money. Aphromoo only has about 100 gold, so it won't even be him who picks up the Oracles. If they try to pink ward fight it, it'll be okay, but you generally really want an Oracles for that kind of stuff because you just tend to run out of them. Meanwhile, for Muffin Cutie, his actually has timed out, so both teams with a minute to go till Baron are without Oracle's elixirs, and that can make really interesting things happen when you think you've swept out the wards, but you haven't actually.
Yeah, and there is a pink ward in the banana bush as well. That is the only ward by Vulcun, by CLG, sorry, around that area at the moment. Vulcun have a lot of wards around their jungle, a lot of wards around the top jungle as well, so they're actually going to have full vision of the Baron area. They don't have the Baron itself warded out. They have good vision. No oracles from CLG. Doesn't look like they're really interested in this one. They do put the ward in the river. Maybe they are going to go up and start sweeping out the pinks. They can see that one, surely. Chauster didn't even bother clearing it.
I would have thought so.
Not sure. Maybe that's a...
I'm checking their vision. They don't see it. It's slightly behind the wall. There's like that little bit of cliff blocking vision there. So they actually don't know that ward is there. That's going to be surprising because they would wait in that rush. CLG have started it, and the thing is, because they use teleport and flag toss, they're actually not in vision. This is actually blind right here.
Absolutely blind, and now we're seeing Muffin Cutie. He's backing off. The rest of Vulcun not ready for this one, and it is going to be CLG. Now they're pushing forward to it, but they've already taken half it off. Doublelift joins the fight. They're going to get it before they can react to this one. Smithy comes running in, but he's too late, and now you're going to see Link going in there. The arrow comes in. The spear, the spear goes in, but it doesn't land. And well, look at that. CLG hit and run once again.
That was a very, very impressive move by them. Again, the flag toss over the wall juked all the wards. None of Vulcan's wards were actually in the Baron pit, and they said, yeah, hotshot, run teleport, don't risk getting spotted. We don't have oracles, we can't sweep the wards, you've got to go in from the fog. And so it was an amazingly nice move. And Vulcun, Muffin Cutie, he wasn't with his team. They couldn't engage the 5-on-5 if they didn't have 5 people, even though a lot of CLG were low on health.
Yeah, now he has the Oracle in his bag, but he isn't going to use it because there's no reason. CLG are knocking on the inhibitor door, and they may well be able to beat it down because they have that Baron buff. They have that big gold advantage, which equates to a bit of an item advantage. Of course, that
8,000.
Rabadon's death cap now been picked up by ManCloud. Does mean those spears are going to do a lot. If they can land some of those to start just chipping down CLG, it may give them second thought to try and get on towards those inhibitors, and you can see they're already backing off.
Yeah, the interesting thing though for CLG is that they have Baron buffs plus a Sona, and so if they do decide to go for the siege, landing 1 or 2 javelins won't stop the push. It'll just slow them down a little bit, and they'll have to be a little bit cautious. But generally speaking, it's you know, and they even have a Warmog's armor on Chauster, who's the only frontliner there, so he has a bunch of regen.
They're collapsing on Link here. They're looking to go for it. Smithy's going to come around. He's got the support. Zuna is also going to come around there, but look at that. The Wither goes down. They should have enough to close the gap. You can see Zuna gets rocket jumps in there, does put the aggression down. Link turns around, tries to go aggressive, but straight away he gets shut down, hooked in, and they weren't having any of that one. They do manage to take down. That's 1 Baron down. Hotshot eats a spear, meanwhile, from Mandatory Cloud in the mid.
And that is going to stop their ability to push in right here. And the thing about Zuna as well was he had such great reflexes on that fight. Because again, Requiem is available for CLG, so he had to Buster Shot that as fast as possible. Link almost put him in Requiem range, which, despite being a really well-orchestrated 3-on-1 dive, would have made it a free 1-for-1.
Absolutely would have caused problems. Doublelift picks up the blue buff there, getting in, taking Vulcan's blue buff away from him. The ward's starting to run out for Vulcan here, so they need to get out and try and plaster out their own jungle, try and get some cover on it. The Oracle has been used by Muffin Cutie, so they're going to try and sweep out. You can see that's why they're moving as a pack around their own jungle. And CLG, meanwhile, they're going to keep the pressure on. They're pushing up mid.
And here we go. They're going to see what they can do. Of course, they don't have Link, but he has teleport if they do get into a fight. The problem is they still have to deal with a very, very buffed up Zuna. He's actually picked up a Negatron cloak to try to survive Karthus and Katarina. It's a smart choice there because he's the really only persistent damage output in the fight. Rumble is a little bit too spiky, and Nax is a little bit too unreliable to say, yes, they're good damage dealers. Again, same for ManCloud. He's got to rely on skill shots or going into melee form on a squishy champion. So Zuna must survive for Vulcan to win a fight. But if he is safe, he out-damages Doublelift.
CLG wisely moving around. That final inner turret down that bottom lane is going to get shoved up. Link's clearing out the waves, and the rest of the team going to come around. Chauster's just going to tank it up, and Doublelift with support in there is going to get that poke down on it. The wave will come in with Link, but Mandatory Cloud comes back in with the rest of Vulcan to try and keep them off it.
Well, we'll see if that ends up happening here. You're again seeing CLG forced a little far around. Baron buff is timing out. Again, they only have 4 of them. Baron's only got 30 seconds left. So, you know, they've got basically this last mini wave. If they go in on the wave after this, Baron's gone.
Well, put the wards out across so they got full vision. Doublelift takes a spear. The chops there. It is going to be Vulcun keeping him at bay. The spears continuing to go out, and they're keeping him well away from the turret tier. It's working well for Vulcun here. They're keeping him off. It's just not showing that there's a 9,000 gold difference between these teams.
Well, they've made sure to grab a lot of wave clear, which is really, really important. The NASA Spiritfire max, but they found Chouster. No, he's a Warmog's Jarvan. You can't all in a Warmog's Jarvan. It's not going to happen. But again, yeah, they've brought a lot of wave clear here. They've got explosive shot on Tristana maxed by this point, plus the Nasus. They do okay here.
The problem is the Requiem's going to come down. They've got a giant wave pushing on towards that top lane, and somebody is going to have to deal with it from Vulcun here, and they realize they are going to lose that final inner turret. That's 6-3 now. COG slowly but surely clawing out all the advantages. Ward gets cleared out, and it is Zuna that's had to go up towards that top lane. As soon as he shows himself, will COG go aggressive? Chouster does get pulled in. That's not the one you want, Muffin Cutie.
No, it's not, and you're seeing the team poke through a great ult. It's on a double lift. He's forced to run away.
They're going aggressive, but they haven't got Zuna with them. COG could turn this one around on them.
A flash ult Sona could just end the game right here. The COG could easily re-engage and close it out. ManCloud, you've got to be a little bit afraid. Links off to the side. They found Muffin Cutie.
They do find Muffin Cutie. He gets Lash. Cataclysm comes down. They're on towards Muffin Cutie. Smith is going to tank it up, and that was just about done right there. No, Zuna, look how far Zuna is away. He pushed up that lane all the way, which is why COG were trying to go aggressive, but ballsy play from Vulcun there.
I mean, Zuna's just running around to grab farm. He now has enough money for Last Whisper. Last I checked, he was at 800 gold. Now he's at 1,600, so he will have a big damage spike now. Again, he realizes he's fighting a Jarvan whose flag still grants armor. There's a huge damage spike when Last Whisper is completed, and as, again, their only real damage source, Zuna does need to be channeled farm to have an effect on this game. Yeah, Vulcun thought they had enough wave clear just to survive it. They only lost 2 flashes. That wasn't terrible, but CLG, they have been pushing very strongly.
They are pushing and causing problems. Zuna did go for that Last Whisper. It's built up for the Phantom Dancer as well. Needs to try and pick that one up. See what he goes with next. Knew he needed some lifesteal, which is why he got that Vampiric Scepter in there. May go Bloodthirster indeed.
Because he stopped at Zeal.
Well, Muffin Cutie is with the Oracle. He's got an Oracle and he's got one in his bag. He definitely wants to make sure Vulcun won a fight for this next Baron.
Yes, and this is going to be hopefully the first time that Vulcun times these buffs properly. They've always been 30 seconds late to the party over and over and over again. The Dragon earlier where Psycho Sid wasn't quite on the right half of the map. The Baron where they just didn't have quite the ward coverage and they showed up after Sylvie took it down. They've got some damage, but they don't have anyone to follow up on Aphromu. They had the Javelin, but he can heal.
He can heal himself up. The Wither and the hook on Aphromu certainly gave him pause for thought there as he was trying to go around with Chouster to try and just clear it out. He is going towards the top lane. Meanwhile, the rest of Vulcun trying a little poke in towards that mid there. They have those 2 wards, which is going to give Muffin Cutie plenty of cash back for that Oracle he's already picked up. Spear lands on towards Hotshot GG. These are the things they need to start avoiding, because if they could just keep on chipping away with that spear, it would definitely give them issues when it comes to a team fight.
I like what Hotshot's actually done with his build, by the way. So with the Magic Pen, he went for Leandri's Rylays. He went for a slightly tanky, very damage over time based build to say, if you run through me, you're going to get burned out. And he actually just picked up just a null magic mantle because he knows really only javelins are going to hurt his day here. So I don't think he'll even turn it into anything, really. He just wants a little bit of MR to survive the fights better.
Double Lift putting a couple of Mystic shots on towards the Baron there. Blue buff is going to be the pause of fight, and it's going to get hooked up. Did he get? I didn't see who the heck took that one.
No one's going to smite it either. You know you don't want to smite when Baron's on the table.
That was either Double Lift, because he has one on him. I didn't see anything of Vulcun, but Vulcun are pushing up the mid lane here. This may well be aggressive base race here. Is it going to work out for them, though? They're going to go for it. They're going to try and shove in. No, everybody's backing off because they realize they're going to lose their inner turret. Zuna's going to continue pushing. It's going to be the Requiem. That's going to prevent them all backing off there. And there goes the True Shot Barrage. COG pushing on this one. They're going to drive in. They're going to get an inhibitor turret. But the rest of Vulcun having to come back. Is it too little too late? All of them backing off
and
here.
Now they can rush Baron.
They're going to try and rush Baron, and that's caught Vulcun. No, they've realized it. They're running back to Baron. They've realized they're pulling away. They've lost an inhibitor for 1 inner turret. And now they're going to be a 3v5.
Yeah, and 2 recalled and 2 and 3 ran across the map. They've got a 5-on-3 against Baron. Zuna and Muffin have to run across right now, but because 3 didn't recall, they're around to push them down. Look at the burn damage they get. They are actually going to stop the Baron.
They've stopped the Baron very nicely. They're going to try and... No, they don't want to go for themselves. They can't try and fight this one themselves, but the rest of the team now coming around. Zuna and Muffin Cutie have joined them. Now they're going to try and stop COG from going back. The spear comes in. The hook lands on Hotshot, but they can't see it. They've kept the Baron tagged, and he's doing a lot of damage to Vulcun now, and COG realize this, and now they're thinking of turning it around.
Vulcun thought they had dealt enough damage to CLG to say, look, you guys are going to be forced to reclear, your health bars are too low, we can burn down Baron, if you fight us, we'll just win the engage. The problem is Baron dealt so much damage back to Vulcun that they were on equal footing and said, okay, you're right, we can't do it.
Well, Link looking to try and sneak around the side there on Zuna, thinking about it, and COG just saying, we've seen this dance before, and we're going to go back in your base again. Can they try and bait them around? Vulcun do back off this time, but CLG have duped them. They've gone around the side, the pings go back down, and Vulcun are going, God damn it, they're back on the Baron!
Well, the funny thing is, those Aphromu's running so low on mana, just a Philo Stone for regen. He's got to save enough for Crescendo, which costs 150. He's only at 226 right now, so he's only got one heal every, like, 12 seconds or so to keep up with mana regen. So the sustain's not super high from CLG. They can get poked out.
They are back on Baron. There is a ward in there, though, so they can see full vision of this one. Vulcun, they are close by. Hotshot gets hooked in, but Muffin's got nothing to back this one up because the rest of his team weren't around there. Now they're on towards Hotshot. GG. In comes Smithy. Can they get the steal? Is there enough?
He got it!
He got the steal! And that's going to be Hotshot. GG going down. Smithy paid the price for it. Doublelift managed to take him down, but it is going to be Hotshot down. It's 1-for-1, but it's going to be the top laner for the jungler. And now Vulcun, they're going to turn and run. The hook comes in. He missed it! He missed it on Doublelift. It forced him to arcane shift away, but that hook missed. Psycho Sid puts the ward down. He's going to come back around. Equalizer will be back available in a long way, so he's going to try and get pressure on towards them. He will catch on towards Aphromu, and there's going to be the spear comes in. The flame spinner on towards Aphromu. Aphromu goes down. Now Vulcun, they can push on towards the top lane. Zuna pushing in towards the middle inhibitor.
Zuna's safe here. He knows that Link is still low running away. He won't die to Chouster 1v1. Heck, he'll beat Chouster 1v1, I'm pretty sure. But Vulcun, they don't want to get too over-aggressive. Again, they know that they're dealing with a dead inhibitor, that minions are flooding into their base, and they can just farm out, which is probably their prerogative. They've got great late game scaling. Farming it out's okay.
Farming it out is working well, but it does manage to give a chunk of gold back to Vulcun, a gold lead that they were desperately falling behind. Has managed to pull them back in it a little bit, give them a bit of a glimmer of hope for all the Vulcun fans out there against Counter Logic Gaming. CLG, of course, they are 0-2 this week. Will they go 0-3, or will Vulcun manage to throw this one back towards them? As it stands, it's definitely CLG with a big advantage, but they are certainly being taken a run for their money by Vulcun here. I thought the plays were going to go back and forward. I thought CLG completely had duped them, but Vulcun managed to go in. The balls of Smithy to walk in and smite it.
That was definitely a great fight for them, especially the smite fight right there was awesome. And yeah, like Vulcan's ability to sort of survive. I mean, the CLG, most of the Baron baits have been perfect from CLG. They've played almost all of them perfectly, but Vulcun just did the great split on that third Baron, some in the base, some to stop the Baron attempt, just enough. Of course, Dragon, Vulcan's not even going to try anymore. And heck, most of that gold lead you see now, that's CLG just religiously taking Dragon over and over. They must be at 5 now at this point, and it's given them a really, really good lead. Since the first one, they've always picked them up basically right on respawn.
Well, they are shoving in towards this bottom turret again. Remember, they put a lot of damage down to it before. Spears continuing to be thrown out by Mandatory Cloud. He got himself a Void Staff last time he went back to keep them spears doing more damage, and you can see the turret was on half health. They may engage here. Psycho Sid goes aggressive. The hook lands on Chouster, but again, as you mentioned, you don't want to Warmox Jarvan.
Now, and of course, he's going for Randuin's as well, which means even Zuna will have a hard time fighting against him. Chouster right now sits at 196 armor. That gets shredded by 40 when you're fighting in the Nasus E, but it's not enough to really say, you know what, yeah, I'll go for him now.
Well, there is a wave of super minions again coming in that top lane. Spears continuing to get tossed out by Mandatory Cloud, and that does give pause for thought. And again, Chouster tempting fate there. A spear starting to do some damage, pop the shield and managed to do a chunk of damage on towards Chouster. So if they land, as you see Hotshot taking one to the chops, it does cause problems. Zuna clearing out that wave. It's continuing to farm Zuna up, but still he's behind Doublelift. 401 CS now for Doublelift.
Yeah, and you're seeing like the poke comp as well hold them off in a 4v5. And so what Aphromu did was finally pick up a Chalice of Harmony. The MR, of course, helps him survive those needly javelins that deal magic damage, but also he knows he's been running out of mana spamming that heal. Next pickup for him, honestly, should be some kind of cooldown reduction just so he can get the heals out a bit more. Even ability power to make the heals more efficient, because he can't heal faster than those javelins taking his teammates' health bars low. So there's a little bit of something they've got to work with here.
Mandatory Cloud finally, I think that may be the first blue buff of the game for him that he's been able to pick up there. It's been a long time, but that does mean, of course, that the spears can start being thrown more and more and more. Look at all those wards in the bottom jungle, the top jungle. from Vulcun. They have full vision. They're doing exactly what they need to do to hold off CLG here. I feel we're going to go the long haul, long 9 yards here. We're at 7-6 at 43 minutes coming up. The next fight is going to be vital for both of these teams.
Yeah, this game definitely has gone the 8 meters so far. Just decided to do that one. I don't know why. Moving on, though, we have, of course, Vulcun just scaling their way to the late game. Now, Mandatory Cloud, though, interestingly, is going for a Lich Bane, which surprised me a little bit because his game had all been about the long-range poke, in engaging from afar, dealing damage, and then saying, okay, team, we can clean up now. With the Lich Bane, he's actually looking to go Assassinate midway through this fight, but he's up against a Katarina and a Karthus. I don't know when he's going to get to walk into a middle of a fight to use that Lich Bane. Like, we'll see how it pans out. He might get this amazing assassination and close it out, but it's interesting. It's not what I would have expected to come out here. Now, of course, you're seeing CLG on the wave clear end. They've got a heck of a lot as well. Katarina, Ezreal, and Karthus, even Jarvan. It's going to be very hard for Vulcun to actually make that happen. I think it's up to them to actually split push, do that sort of Dignitas push 3 lanes at the same time deal.
Well, this is the first siege we've seen Vulcun actually try here. The finally Mandatory Cloud with that blue buff. But Baron's run out. They are a good way behind in gold, but they are up at 7-6 in kills. And that in itself, they're going to think, yeah, we're behind, but we're not that far behind because they don't get to see this gold difference.
No, they don't. They don't really know what it is. They know they're down a bunch of dragons, but they can say, okay, top laners pretty equal, junglers pretty equal, mid laners pretty equal, AD carries pretty equal, supports, I don't know who bought more wards, but their minion kills are only within 20. Just saying. So, you know, Vulcun knows that they're only down a little bit in in dragons, and they're down one Baron. So yeah, they'd guess 6K.
Yeah, it would be a pretty accurate guess as well. A very educated guess. They can, of course, see that bulwark on Aphromoo. Definitely the first time, or first support in a long time I've seen actually pick that one up. Normally it's the jungler, because simply it's a very expensive item for a support to pick up. But nevertheless, with the advantages they've had, it's definitely worked out for him. And Baron, again, is going to be the focus of target for both of these teams. 50 seconds for that one. Everybody going to go back. Everybody's going to pick up the wards, the oracles, and they're going to try and get in and sweep it. There's Muffin Cutie with the oracle on him already. Vulcun are going to try and position for this one, but as is, you see Aphromoo and Chauster coming with him.
And I actually like, so you mentioned the runic bulwark from Aphromoo. I actually like that they had Aphro pick up the team aura items and let Chauster itemize for himself, because he is the only front lane tank there for the team. When you look at Vulcun, they've got McSmithy and Muffin Cutie to sort of tank up, and they're kind of splitting the duties there, right? You're seeing auras come out from McSmithy to help out Muffin Cutie on the front lines. Chauster had to itemize for himself, right? Warmogs into Randuin's. It was all about him trying to keep himself alive, and that's very, very important for him. And so they had Aphromoo pick up the auras to go from there. And just so you guys know, plus 291 on Siphoning Strike. D-Man pulled it over and made sure it showed up there. Calling it out. 291 plus 291 on the Siphoning Strike for Nasus.
So Vulcun with the Death Bush attempt. He's spotted out. And look at this, Link. He's going to be miles away. He's going to get in there. They're going to shove it straight through. COG may be trying to force the fight here. Link may have to be forced to teleport. That's all they can do to try and save that bottom turret. Zuna's bought time, and he's going to get back down there and prevent Link from getting in towards it, because just a couple of shots really from Link would certainly get that turret low.
And of course CLG will start onto Baron. They do have the oracles, so it's a little bit of a blind Vulcun here, putting as many wards down as possible. The javelins, though, Aphromoo has no health. They're going to equalize it. He's forced to flash out of that one.
He didn't quite manage to get the ignite down. He has got Leandris burning on towards him. Link back on that bottom lane. Zuna's running towards it. They're going to go for Baron. They're going to give up an inhibitor turret, I think, for this one, and possibly an inhib. Can they force it, though? You can see Hotshot going to try and come around the side there. They have had to back away, and they're giving up their base. And Link is going to take another turret from Vulcun here, and Vulcun have had to just give up on this one because they can't fight CLG.
And of course CLG have gone right back into the Baron pit. Vulcun, CLG is just doing such a very amazing job of splitting this game up, because no one can actually force Link away. He's done so well this game, and this Baron is getting lower and lower. Are we going to get another Miracle Smite?
They're going to come in, but it's not going to happen. I feel CLG are going to turn this one around. Crescendo comes down, and now Muffin Cutie gets caught out. Doublelift takes him down. Link is teleporting. Where's he going? He goes in towards his team, doesn't try and cut them off. But Vulcun back away from this one, and now a Baroned up CLG are going to cause all manner of problems for Vulcun.
That was excellent play by CLG. Perfect splitting right there. Link pulled the right amount of attention. The turret kill was huge for him. And of course, now we're in a 4v5. Muffin Cutie won't have his ult, even if he does revive. This is going to be very hard for Vulcun.
It's going to be very hard indeed. like you mentioned, Link, and it was Zuna. Zuna, as soon as they saw Zuna was down there, it was like the only guy that really could deal with Link. They're just like, well, we're going to get a free Baron and a free inhibitor right now. You can see Smithy trying to keep them at bay. Hotshot taking a lot of damage there. It's double if they're actually forcing the potential on. Oh, can they try and catch him out? They're going to go aggressive. Zuna goes back in. Hotshot GG forced to use the Zhonya's Hourglass. He's going to get caught down. Mandatory Cloud manages to land the spear on him. And that was a really good defensive work from Vulcun there. Can they try and cause the pressure down? You can see Mandatory Cloud trying to chase down Link, but I'm not sure that's a fight he wants in a 1v1 because Link, like you mentioned, is set up for that duel. Double lift. Oh, he's going to get caught with the spear as he tries to repel back in towards there. Vulcun going to keep pressuring up mid.
That was excellent play. So I talked a bit of smack about that Lichbane, but the Lichbane auto attack from ManCloud is actually what took down Hotshot there after he flashed the Javelin toss. And now, of course, the 5v4 on their side. Hotshot's got 40 seconds. He will have Requiem when he comes back up, but now it's a 4v4. They don't have Buff and Cutie yet, but they've got minions. This turret is theirs, and possibly the inhibitor as well.
Well, Lincoln's going to come in. He's going to get ready and waiting for this one. The pressure coming out. They're going to keep him at bay. And Vulcun have hit and run and taken that first inhibitor of the game away from a Baroned up counter logic gaming. What great commands there coming out from Vulcun.
Nice. And now, of course, we see that Vulcun have actually rested map control. So they've taken the mid inhibitor down. Now the minions will flood toward CLG. And that even though they're fighting a Baron buff, again, they have long-range poke, they can deal damage from a distance. They're actually okay fighting a siege game against Baron, which is so rare, but in this case, it's actually fine here for Vulcun. And of course, you've seen now, Zuna has hit max items. He is going to out-damage Double Lift in fights.
Ooh, Muffin Cutie throwing out the hook, but it was Double Lift he really wanted to go for. He keeps slinging it towards Chowster, and he's just not the one you want to go for. He's got that Randian's Omen and Warmog. True Shot Barrage launched down the middle to keep that wave at bay, and we may well see Link once again trying to get in there and push the pressure. He has got teleport available, but it's a long way away. It's going to be a good, minute away, I think that is, before he gets that teleport.
2 minutes exactly.
2 minutes, that's a long time for them to do it, so which means they can't split push. Vulcun keeping the pressure on despite the fact COG have that Baron.
Yes, they've got Baron on 4. You're seeing the Pokemon. They will go for Zuna. No, they can't quite. The team can't follow up. Rocket Jump's going to make it very hard to jump in on Azuna. He's got to be able to manage that cooldown.
Taking a lot of damage, that spear burning him down, and that's Hotshot's had to back away from this one just in time, though. The siege minions are coming out, though, so it's going to keep them away from that turret for a little bit longer. Zuna's going to walk up, no cares given, going to tank out the turret here. It's actually Smithy that's taking the damage. Lantern use. Hotshot comes back in there. They do catch the damage on towards Smithy, and now Chowster thinks about going aggressive. They're keeping the poke back and forward, and there's going to be the equalizer going down. Chowster's getting burnt down. He gets dropped. Crescendo though, and Link goes in. He manages to pop the ultimate. Ball gets launched away by the Buster Shot. Zuna keeps him at bay. Zuna with the shots on towards Aphromoo. Has to back away from this one, but Double Lift. He's burning down the target. Zuna gets dropped. Mandatory Cloud has to get away from this one. Requiem comes down, and it's Double Lift with a double kill once again.
Wow, what an impressive fight by CLG. They lost Chowster for free, but they managed to re-engage off of an amazing crescendo from Aphromoo and ludicrous damage coming out from Link. They evaporated everybody, and that team had focused so much on keeping Double Lift alive. He's got Cleanse and a Quicksilver Sash. They picked up Mikhail's Crucible as well. Of course, minions are in CLG's base, and Hotshot's forced to defend them, so they don't get a lot of time to push back onto Vulcan's base here.
Oh, good spear there landing on towards Double Lift, timing it very well for Mandatory Cloud, trying to keep him away from this inhibitor. The middle inhibitor's safe. Of course, that did mean a Nexus turret went down there. I don't know if you quite caught that one, as well as an inner turret, so Vulcan picking up a lot of advantages despite the fact they lost that fight.
So I just want to point out that Mandatory Cloud in no way had vision of Double Lift there.
Pure guesswork.
He saw him run down, because the turret you see on your screen right there, saw him run down that avenue, and he was like, and now. And Double Lift was like, well, bye.
Well, that hit me straight in the face, and I'm going to back off. So, ManCloud doing a great defensive job. Let's have a look across the board. Let's have a look across the items. It's a 10,000 gold difference, but we're at 70,000 and 80,000 gold. So 10,000 gold is not a great deal right now. It's less than 10%, which is a big difference. Let's have a look at the items. You can see a lot of these champions, they're starting to get complete builds. Zuna, he's gone for that bladed scimitar on there as well, so which is absolutely needs to, because if he gets caught out by anyone, really, he's going to have to just QSS it off and just get the hell out of there. Meanwhile, let's have a look at Doublelift. He went for that Trinity Force very early on. He's now got the Infinity Edge. He's also got the Symmetry himself. He needs to be careful, obviously. There's hooks getting thrown towards him. The Bloodthirster, the Last Whisper, and he has got boots. Interested to see he has got boots, because often you get this time and he just says, well, that's it, I'm going to sell the boots.
He's more interested in kiting, really. This is sort of trademark Doublelift. He actually picks up defensive items quite a lot. Actually went Mercury Treads over Berserker's Greaves, but he's gone Führer Boots plus you know, everything else. So he's super, super kitey. It'll be almost impossible for that team to catch Doublelift. Now, Vulcan's team is not about assassinating. He's not really under that much threat of getting dived in a fight, so that's fine. But again, he's got Cleanse, the Mercurial Scimitar, and the Mikhail's Crucible from Aphromoo. They are trying over and over and over again to say, look, we really need to remove Wither. Doublelift needs to put out damage here.
Well, ManCloud is going to get himself that blue buff, which means the focus of Poke will be coming back out again, and he'll keep those spears landing. Those spears do a lot of damage right now. They're going to continue to do more and more damage as the game progresses. We did see Chowster actually get shredded down by Zuna, so that is really, because we're into the danger zone. 54 minutes almost of this game, and it's showing that no matter, despite the fact he's got that Warmog, the Randian's Omen, all that item and armor stacking, it doesn't matter because Zuna's a beast right now, as well as Doublelift. And look at that! 2 shots onto Doublelift, and it nearly melted him.
Yeah, and Zuna could have potentially rocket jumped for that, but his flash was down. Maybe he could have played with the Lantern, but he would have been caught out if he didn't get the kill there.
Wow.
Or he could have been, I should say.
That may well give them the Baron. He's going to have to go back. He's trying to lifesteal his way back through the minions. It will be enough, but he's only going to be coming back about the 3rd health as he comes into this fight. Zuna's just going to melt this down very quickly. Smithy, of course, keeping that Spirit Fire on. The hook lands on towards Hotshot GG. See, Link's going to teleport in. Another spear. Oh, he's going to go down. It's going to be a beautiful finish there. And now Chowster's going to get pulled in. He uses his jump, but it doesn't matter. Zuna melts him down. Aphromoo manages to get the cancel. Oh, and he's going to get melted. Muffin Cutie taken so low. You can see the Zhonya's coming out from Link, but he gets hooked in there. Zuna picks up 1, picks up 2. He's going to get the triple kill. Doublelift trying to lifesteal away at the back there. And now they're going to go back onto Baron. It is Doublelift, the only man alive. And it's now Vulcan with the Baron. 5-man standing, pushing up mid.
And there's only Doublelift alive. He is up against the world right here. That was almost a perfect initiation, sort of counter-engaged by CLG, but he had to immediately Zhonya's Link there, and then it exquisitely timed. I mean, Shunpo is instant cast. Like, you can't miss that, right? And he got immediately hit by the hook.
And it looks like Vulcan are going to go in. I don't think Doublelift can do anything about this one. And look at that again, 2 shots. Zuna comes in. Bam! It's an ace. There goes the Nexus turret, and the Nexus follows. Vulcan take the win after 55.5 minutes over Counter Logic Gaming. That gives Vulcan their first win of the weekend, their only game of the weekend, but it means CLG a 0-3 this week.
Oh, that is harsh, and I think that puts them below 500 in win rate as well. I think they've now got more losses than wins on the season. But I wanted to sort of recall that last second of that game where we had the player cameras in the bottom and you saw Zuna in the bottom left. That was an empty chair before the Nexus even died. He killed Doublelift, attack moved the Nexus, and like shot out of his chair yelling. I could hear him through my headphones across the studio. He was already up saying, we got this. I'm out. I got to hug people. Like, Zuna.
Got to hug people.
I got to hug people. And you know, it goes.
The big important part about this game that we didn't actually mention at all is that Aphromoo is formerly on Team Fear, which was Vulcan beforehand, of course, on that team. Used to be the AD